Bouncing with that
drop. KCP in the middle. Bounce, Larry. Throw that baby down. Oh, my goodness.
What? Howard, are you kidding? With some anger.
Kyrie get out of that double team. With the hip fake. What a move by Hakeem Olajuwon.
Levine, he goes right.
Oh! Does anybody know how to post video?
Yo, what's going on? Drop Step Podcast, episode 18. B-Dog here.
It's your boy Houston. What's going on, everybody?
Book the hook, holding it down on the right.
So obviously missing one person, home team. He has some other things to take care of. So look, we've done it before. It'll be us three. We'll take care of business. We know what we got to do.
All right.
So the Warriors took care of business.
Did they?
They more than took care of business.
Like, I think that they going out there to prove some points.
Now, I'm not even going to knock the Trailblazers. I just think this said more about Golden State than it did about Portland. Golden State is just, they got back to what they were used to, and they got back to playing a style of ball that they haven't had to play in like the last 3 years because of KD. But they look mighty comfortable getting back to what they were used to doing.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty easy when the new game plan is team ball. You know, everybody move around. It's going to come your way at some point. You got a shot, take it. If you don't, pass it up. And then let's get these rebounds and let's play good defense. You go back to team ball like that, everybody's happy.
Portland got swept in the first round of the playoffs last year by the New Orleans Pelicans.
In the first round.
What were we expecting? Like, just because they made their way through the first round, made their way through the second round, when they got up against the juggernaut that we know as the Golden State Warriors, what were we expecting? Like, I mean, similar to what Denver did. Denver missed the playoffs on the last day of the regular season last year. What were we expecting? Like, we just can't get fooled by these facades, man. It's nice to see. You know, it's nice to see Dame and nice to see CJ make it to somewhere they never been, but it's somewhere they never been. So what were we expecting when they got there?
I can't debate that. We've seen this time and time because this was the third straight year that the Blazers have been swept in the playoffs. So I get that, but I mean, it looked like they were taking some better strides. Did we think that they would beat the Warriors? No, but I mean, you're gonna at least pull out a game. And even actually, if you look at this, they had a stat that they were actually led majority of all games up until the end, basically. So they were doing all right, just can't close out. So at the end of the day, that's what we learned. I think that we learned a lot about Portland. They're just not totally there yet. They're just not ready.
I've always said they're missing. It seems to me they're missing a piece. I don't know what it is. It could be another four, a guy who can put the ball on the floor and get to the back, another guy who could create his own shot. But to me, they're good, but they're missing that one piece that could possibly get them over the hump. Now, I don't know if y'all agree with me, but I just, when I watch them, I'm like, they're good. They have a lot of length, but they're missing that other piece outside of Dame and CJ.
Yeah, it's somebody in a low post position that they're missing. I think that's where they're really falling apart at. But at the same time, I think a lot of this got to fall on Dame and CJ. Like, after Dame hit that big shot to send the Rockets packing, it's been like where you've been. His numbers have just been it's like empty calories.
I guarantee you, if you could have an honest conversation with the Portland management / ownership right now, they would tell you that they're disappointed that Portland did so well this year. Because at the end of the day, Portland is about to be in the cycle of mediocre and in the mid-tier of the NBA for the next 5 to 6 years.
And they're about to offer Dame a 4-year, $191 million contract.
Which only solidifies them being in the middle of mediocre teams in the NBA. Because you can't get out of that contract. You're not going to trade them. Like, so they've given you reasons to almost re-sign the both of them at this point, which we've seen the best end of that product. And by re-signing both of those cats, where are you going to find this extra money to sign that piece that you said they're missing, B-Dog? You know, I think it's an endless hole that they're literally tumbling down right now.
Sounds pretty familiar to me. It sounds like a Hawks organization for like about 12 years where you just hang around mediocrity. You're not bad enough to get a good draft pick, but you're not good enough to draw in a good free agent, and you probably just don't even have the money to do so. And you're not going to have the money after paying CJ and Dame. We get that. So, yeah, they probably would have been better off getting into the draft, especially since teams in the bottom half of the draft were already getting, top 5 picks. Thank you, LA, again. But they are where they are. They're missing some things, and I almost forgot. Dame was hurt. He had separated ribs for the last 2 games, and it happened in the second game. And I don't know if y'all know anything about rib injuries.
It wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered.
He was uncomfortable. So at the end of the day,
you're right.
So at the end of the day, I think that it would have mattered because even in Game 4, it came down to a buzzer beater that he missed. You're uncomfortable. You can't breathe right. Your ribs. Every time that you breathe, you have to feel that pain.
It would have mattered to what extent would it have mattered?
Mattered to the point that it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of 7-game series.
Gentleman's sweep.
Maybe pull it out in 6. Maybe 6.
Nah.
It might go 6.
He's comfortable on the beach right now, though. I guarantee you that.
A very
he's
exclusive beach
on that beach right
that
now.
only his type of money can afford.
Exactly.
So that
He ain't that uncomfortable.
Yeah. So you can have rib injuries on the beach.
Sports, right?
Yeah, right.
Like he was dealing with injuries. He was dealing with pain, but I don't think that was enough to kind of determine how this series was going to go or affect this series detrimentally in any type of way. I just don't. It still goes to the fact he could have been 100%. He could have been the best player he could possibly be. They still don't have enough, especially to get past Golden State. And then plus,
I think if it was, here's my thing. I think if it was anybody else but Golden State, we might be having a different conversation.
Absolutely.
For sure. I mean, that's easy to say.
Even if Houston had somehow squeaked it out, because, KD went down, if Houston was able to squeak it out and get past Golden State last round, I think that the Trailblazers probably put up a better fight in that series. But it is Golden State at the end of the day, and they did just get rejuvenated by, having KD go down.
Right. And you're talking about a team and an organization who...
That sounds weird to say. They got rejuvenated by having KD go down.
Well, they had something to prove. It's one of those things where everybody was saying, you have KD for 3 years, and it's, hey, this is KD's team. They're virtually unstoppable without KD. Now that he goes down, does this team know do they remember how to play without a talent like that on the floor with them? And they really had to kind of show the world, I think we still know how to play a little bit, just a little bit.
It drives me crazy when I see the stat of the Golden State Warriors are now, 30-1 in their last...
Without KD?
Yeah, without KD and with Steph in the lineup. Like, okay, why do we stop it right there? Why do we stop at 30-1? Why don't we just go ahead and say that they are 73-9 plus 30-1? Like, do you forget that they were 73-9 without Kevin Durant before he showed up? Like,
yes, you forget, because when he got there, he became their MVP.
But still,
I guess they're proving that it's kind of like riding a bike. You might be a little rusty, but you get back on and you figure it out. That's what they're proving to us right now. But at the time, usually, once you go into that new direction, you're gonna lose something from it. You're not gonna be you would think they're not gonna be as effective, but like I said, it totally went the opposite way for them.
Like it's 103-10 now. That's how I see it.
But you know what though? Let me pause for a minute, because let's take it a little back to when they had that 73-9 season. They lost to the Cavs in the finals. Off season came around. Remember, I think one thing that people forget, and you can blame KD whatever for going there, but let's not act like they didn't go to KD.
They recruited him. Yeah,
they recruited him.
Right.
It wasn't the other way around. Now, obviously, he had to put pen to paper and sign the contract, but I didn't go to you. You came to me, so in a way, it felt as though there was something missing. There was a dynamic there. You all are dynamic. You went 73-9, but there was something there that you felt as though was missing when you failed to close out a series that you were up 3-1.
They were missing the last Infinity Stone. That's all they were missing. Like, they had 4 of them.
Well, if that's the case, the Infinity Stones, if we know anything about the Avengers, that we know that unless you have all the Infinity Stones, the other ones don't matter until you have it complete. So if we're going to use that reference, then what does that say about this team?
I just think it made it that much more dominant. Like, they were already a dominant team. Like, and granted, they did not win the championship the year that they went 73-9, but let's not discount what they did.
Oh, absolutely not.
73-9 and they lost in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. They
Right.
were literally one half. If that game had been 5 more minutes on the clock, there's a really good.
But they lost that game at home too.
No, but that's also the series that Draymond gets kicked, gets suspended for a game and all that stuff. So there was a lot of factors
But could you also say that because of that they put themselves in that situation?
I don't think that they were missing anything, though. I just don't think that there was nothing necessary. They had Harrison Barnes.
Right.
I mean, this is a huge upgrade. I mean, and Harrison Barnes was not a slouch. Like he was better then than he could be seen as now. But like you upgraded from Harrison Barnes to Kevin Durant. Like I don't think that something was necessarily missing. It was almost like I got a really nice house, but I want a pool in the back.
You wanted the guarantee card. You wanted that big joker. You wanted to say this can stop LeBron. We will never have to worry about him again if we put this together. I present to you Voltron, and that's just what it was. So it was successful, but yeah, at some point in time, everybody got to grow up and everybody got to move out. We already expecting KD to go. This is just a test for them to see, okay, if he does actually leave, what are we going to be able to do without him? You're going to go right back to what you were. Sorry for that America missed the memo that you were still Stephen Curry, you were still Klay Thompson, you were still Draymond Green, and you were still Iggy. And you were still even Livingston, who, I mean, he's a ghost of himself from the past couple of years, but still, you're still the core of a team that went to 2 straight without him, 1-1, and because of a whole bunch of freakish incidences, lost the second in a Game 7.
That's that LeBron James factor.
But that's a whole
no.
other story,
But what I'm
bro.
saying is, I agree with everything you're saying. It's just that I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, everybody talks about not needing KD, and what people fail to realize is that, when something seems so far down the line, like the recruiting process was, we forget that you could have gone to anybody and somebody maybe is not as great as KD and recruited him to come to this team. But you recruited the greatness of KD for a reason.
Yeah, why not? If I can go and get.
But my thing is, all I want is a certain level of consistency. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I see.
Where if I'm 73-9 without him, and we lost Game 7 at home. Mm-hmm. I don't need a whole lot more to really get me over the edge because I've already set the precedent at 73-9. I don't know nobody that's going to get too much better than that. Only thing we failed to do is win a championship. But you not only went after an all-star player, you went after arguably one of the greatest players to ever lace them up and a dominant force in Kevin Durant. So I'm wondering, with you going after somebody as talented as him, you could have gone after anybody because I don't know who else was in that free agent class at that time.
It don't matter. Just
right. And so you could have added anything that could have possibly gotten you over the top, and we probably wouldn't have sneezed as much as we would have if you didn't go after Kevin Durant. So my thing is, I wonder, is it just him being a luxury, or is it a luxury plus they felt as though they were missing something even with being a 73-win team?
I think it's the luxury. I mean, why not get sprinkles if you got ice cream?
But see, that ain't just – I look at KD as more than just sprinkles.
Okay, but still, if all right. So if we're gonna use the analogy of sprinkles and ice cream, then let's take it to the mind of a 7-year-old kid. What kid is gonna stop at sprinkles? You take them to Golden Corral, right? And they got all that buffet for the ice cream,
okay.
Right? So what kid is going over there and saying, "I just want sprinkles"? If you're giving them the option, it's free for all.
But if
I could have any one of these free agents in the market right now, but that's the top cookie right there. That's the sprinkles. That's the gummy bears. That's the gumdrops. You know what I'm saying? That's the actual chocolate chips. That's the syrup. That's all of that.
Okay.
I want all of that.
Got it.
And I can afford it.
Absolutely.
So yes, I'm gonna go. Whether I need it or not, I don't need it. My mama know I don't need all this sugar rush.
I got ice cream already.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You gonna take that. You gonna take that.
I hear you, and I understand what you're saying. I guess for me, it's weird because you knew down the line that this topic was going to come up of, can this team still win without KD? And everybody is in there, Draymond, well, we don't need you. We don't this and we don't that. Brother, you can't sit up here and say you don't need him after you all actively went to him and recruited him. He could have gone somewhere else.
Okay, so you say that you know that you didn't need him, and you knew that down the line it was going to come to the tummy ache, right? You're going to feel an upset stomach later on, and you might feel like I need to barf. But was that ice cream good going down and coming up? Yeah.
It was good going down. It wasn't good coming up.
No.
It wasn't good coming up.
It wasn't totally bad. It wasn't like some chicken or something coming up. Excuse for all this nastiness.
But I got what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
From.
Like, at the end of the day, I don't care that at the end of the day, y'all might have a little riff here and there. It's gotten me to the point that we've gotten to 5 straight.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, I mean, I think what I've learned over these last 5 games is that they don't need Kevin Durant. I mean,
But we knew that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was already a proven. Like I said, the 73-9 season to me proved that they didn't necessarily need Kevin Durant. They don't need Kevin Durant right now. It's nice to have him. It's a nice luxury. It's almost a locked-in W when you do have him. But if you don't,
I would say at a point in time they did need him, because we can say anything we want about the ball movement not being what it was. He wasn't playing James Harden ball. The ball was still moving. But there was a time period where you could say because they weren't getting enough shots, Steph and Klay were not hitting their shots.
True. They started to play a different brand of ball.
They were not hitting shots.
But they were still winning.
They were still winning because KD would bail them out.
I heard home team say the other day, I don't care what the pig looks like, just make me the bacon. And I love that analogy because, I mean, if I'm not watching these games, at the end of the day, I see the Warriors won.
Absolutely.
I'm not asking how they won. I'm not asking were they playing isolation ball. I'm not asking did they have good ball movement.
Great.
I'm asking did they win.
Great.
So I love that analogy that he threw out there because at the end of the day, like if they get this championship ring, there's only so much that you can engrave on it. It won't say all of that about KD being the focal point.
Absolutely, and I agree with you in theory, but we're in a business where we just don't stop there. And I agree, and I understand because you don't care how you slice it, how you dice it. I just want the end result.
Okay.
But we work in a business where we never stop there. We work in a business where we dissect things to determine who's the more important piece, who needs who. I'm not always saying it's right, but I am saying that's the business that we're in, and it is what it is. To where there was always going to be, I knew the conversation was going to come where when they start reeling off back-to-back championships, where, okay, do they need KD? Does KD not need them? Are they a better team with KD or without? We knew that conversation was coming. Just having a little bit of foresight, because that's how it always is with the media. So even though, yes, the end result is the championship, great. We don't care how we got there, we got it. But for giggles and for conversation purposes, and because the mainstream media, that's what they do, and that's what we all do in this field, that conversation was going to climb and it was going to escalate, and it's gotten to where we are now, to where, we can say KD is in his feelings. He wants to feel needed. The Warriors want to prove that, hey, bro, you were just a luxury. We don't necessarily really need. Now, we still got the finals to get to because that's where the ultimate goal is won. Right now, it looks great. But I'm not saying that this team is not a champion without him. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is let's not saying that we're discrediting KD and everything that he brings, but sometimes when you may go up against certain teams, regardless of whether it may, I think more so with the Bucks and the Raptors, different matchups bring about different things, and you never know how a series is going to go. I got the Warriors win it all, but I think personally you're going to need KD a little more than what a lot of people think for that final series.
Speaking of the final series, Warriors have now locked their position into the finals.
Newsflash.
Yes, right. Still got 2 more games at minimum to go over in the East. I'll go ahead and throw it out there. Originally, I said that I wanted to see this thing go 7 games. After the first 2 games, I was like, I'm good on it. I know how this thing is going to shake out. Last 2 games in Toronto, kind of taking a step back. Looks we're going to get at least 6 of this series. I just hope that they're more competitive and back and forth versus being decided late in the games.
This is going to be one of the most boring 7-game series we have ever seen in the NBA.
Which team can win on the road? What team can win on the road?
Well, I mean, Milwaukee can win on the road. They've done it. In
Which team
the
is
playoff
going to
series.
win on the road?
Who's going to win on the road?
Well, you got to give Toronto a better chance. Toronto's got 2 road games versus the Bucks only having 1 road
Yeah,
game
but
left.
the Bucks. Okay, let's say you pencil in Game 5. The Bucks are at home. You hope you will see them winning that game and bouncing back. If I'm the Bucks and I already see that the Warriors have finished off their series, they're at home resting. They're at home getting, catching the Z's. They're going out and having a little good time, getting their legs rejuvenated. If I'm them, I would have a little bit more urgency in not only winning Game 5, but going into Game 6, guys. We have to, because every game puts more pressure on your legs.
Yeah,
it takes away from you.
That goes to either team though, because Toronto is still sitting there like, yo.
No, Toronto wants this thing to last as long as possible.
No, you don't, because you don't have home field. You don't have home court advantage.
Yeah, but
so at the end of the day, you don't want to go back to Milwaukee for Game 7.
You don't, but at the same time, you got to ask yourself, who has a better chance of winning in whose building? I think the Bucks have a better chance of winning in Toronto than Toronto does in Milwaukee.
Might be true.
So that's why I say the Bucks ended sooner, because I think they have the better team, and if one team is going to win on the road, it's Milwaukee.
I don't know. Kawhi has proven that it doesn't matter what you put in front of him, he's going to be able to step up. And heck, we're seeing a different Kyle Lowry in the past few games.
Still called fool's goal.
And no, it ain't fool's goal when I only need you to do it for like 1 or 2 games. Like if Kyle Lowry's going to give me a game where he's getting 25 points, cool, I'll take that one, because I know the rest might not be there. I'll take this one that he just gave me a win in. We did what we were supposed to do. We got it tied up. I've got to go steal one early in Milwaukee. There's no way in the world I'm trying to go back for Game 7.
You know why? Another reason why I have more faith in Milwaukee? One pivotal part of Game 4 was the bench for Toronto. You had Powell, you had Van Fleet, who shot the ball really well. I think both of them had like 13 or 16 points respectively. Right. So your bench are always more comfortable with home cooking.
Right.
Whose bench and whose others do I feel more comfortable with taking on? Who has the bench that will travel better to me? I think it's Milwaukee. I honestly think it's now. Eric, like I told y'all, Eric Bledsoe has not shot the ball well. Obviously, he's a starter. I don't know what I'm going to get from him, but other guys coming off that bench, the others that you need, I'm a little bit more confident in Milwaukee's others than I am in Toronto's others.
I don't know. I think that Milwaukee's been here and done this enough to where now that they've got, it's almost like you had the trade out of what we were just talking about of KD and what's your boy with the Warriors before him, we were just saying?
Oh, Harrison Barnes. You got the trade out of KD and Harrison Barnes. And to me, you got the trade out of, golly, me and these names. You got the trade out of Kawhi Leonard and DeMar DeRozan. Right.
So with that trade out, I think you now have what you need to get over that hump. Kyle Lowry knows that it's going to be a grind, and he knows I think everybody knows we need to get this game 5 more than anything. But you see that bench. You see Marc Gasol. You see, what was Ibaka?
No.
Was a beast. Now all they got to do is just be able to carry that momentum over into an away situation. I think they are mentally more prepared because they have pieces that have been there, done that. Milwaukee, you're still a little bit untested. You're still the young boys in all this, so there's still room for you to fall off a cliff. And hello, have you seen Giannis shoot free throws lately?
He didn't look good yesterday.
Yesterday or the game before.
I'll say this: as far as coming down to the bench, which I think this will come down to, I don't think there's a bench that's better than Milwaukee's. I think Milwaukee has the best bench. They haven't shown up the last 2 games, but they've got, like we talked about this a couple of days ago, they're going to have another source of scoring. Somebody's going to get 20 in addition to Giannis's 20. So you kind of just got to pick and choose your poison on that. Toronto is really sporadic. Nobody saw Norman Powell coming up the way he came up. Nobody saw Fred VanVleet coming up the way that he came up. And these are the types of things that can't be counted on consistently. You can't say, like, I'm going to go ahead and pencil in Norman Powell for 20 next game.
Absolutely
Or I'm
not.
penciling Van Fleet for 20 next game. You can, however, say that I'm going to get 10 from Ilyasova. 10 plus. I'm going to get 10 plus from Brook Lopez. I'm going to get 10 plus from Mirotic. Like, those are things that they may not be, locks for those types of numbers, but they're pretty consistent. And I think that will travel to Toronto. I mean, truth be told, both of these are new teams on the scene. Toronto's been there, done that, but they've never excelled to the Eastern Conference Finals and won a game. This is as far in their history as they've been. Same thing for Milwaukee with the group that they've got right now. So, it may come down to coaching. It may come down to the simple little things as far as who can make these adjustments. But I take 7. Just like you said earlier, though, it's going to be a boring series at this point. I'm really just ready to get to the finals, man, to be real with you.
Now, mind you, I've said all this to say Milwaukee's winning this series in 7. like I don't think either team is going to win on the road. But for me, I don't like the way how Giannis has been playing.
He's gassed, man. Like he looked tired last night.
Kawhi's putting the work on.
And Kawhi is kind of hurt.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he's been hobbling the past 2
That
games,
left leg.
and he's still defensively. At least when he's the primary defender on Giannis can't do nothing. He's having his most difficult time with that. So
It's that grown man strength.
It's them hands.
And also what it is that I think they're able to at times consistently do what Boston wanted to do, but they couldn't. And that's every time Giannis drives to the lane, it's hands, it's bodies.
You got to close up the space.
Yeah.
No. They actually said, "What are they do? What are you guys doing to try and stop Giannis?" He said, "Well, what we're trying to do that Philly wasn't doing is." When he's up at the top, he got that ball. We're not giving him space to just go full steam at us.
Right.
We're cutting him off early so that way he has to try to work around. And then that's when all those hands come into play because it's just everything's going to be slapping at the ball.
Force that man to be a shooter because that's one aspect of his game where he still has not.
And he's obviously struggling.
Yeah.
You're really struggling to shoot. Drake is in your head or something.
Lord Jesus. You
Man,
let Drake
he was-
get in your head. That's a problem.
He doing
his
the most.
full antics going last
Drake,
night.
Yeah, Drake is doing the most. You ain't out here air guitaring.
You out here
on
giving the head coach a massage?
Hey, but,
Come on,
but
man.
he is the most powerful man in that building.
Can you
Right,
imagine 2
right.
Chainz coming over to Coach Lloyd Pierce, slapping him up with a little shoulder massage?
You certainly wouldn't have Gucci Mane with him having that Milwaukee jersey on up in Toronto. I don't understand. He'll have a Boston jersey
Hold on,
on
what
in
now?
Boston.
No, because
a Milwaukee jersey.
He's not rocking the stuff because he's a fan of the teams, and we know this.
But my thing is, we get on everybody else for doing this.
No, because he's
Gucci's
not.
in
He's
Milwaukee with
No, he was in Toronto with a Milwaukee
what
jersey
we get on
on.
everybody else for is acting like they're super fans of these teams when they go to these events. He's not acting like a super fan. He's putting his face into place.
With a Bucks
You can
jersey?
put your face-
Hold on.
Yeah.
And what did he do after the game with Drake? He gave Drake the jersey as if it was like a jersey.
You
swap.
could have gave it to him and
Come
not
on now.
wore it. You could have easily brought it and said, "Hey, this for Drake."
Like I said, it's for the pomp and circumstances, for the show. Like, come on, that's all that is. Gucci got music coming out. He's got to put his face out there. And what better way than to go to a game that the Hawks ain't even involved in?
You can
all
still
the way
go.
up to go all the way. No, because think about it. It was his first trip ever to Canada.
Right.
He had never been allowed in Canada before
Right.
that. You're making a spectacle. Why? You got music coming.
So why not wear the Raptor jersey then in that case?
Because you're going there you're in Toronto. So I wanted to create all of this.
But my thing is, why wear a jersey anyway? People see you. You know Drake pulls some strings.
I'm
He got
buff
you there.
Gucci. I ain't wearing clothes nowhere. Go look at Gucci's Instagram and see how many times he got on a full shirt. And if he do got on a shirt with sleeves, see how many times it might
He
actually
be sitting in
open.
clothes on course out at the Hawks game.
I'm trying to think if I seen Gucci at the Hawks
All right,
game
touche,
with a Hawks
touche.
jersey. With a Hawks jersey?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't seen him at the games.
That's
but
the whole point, y'all. Y'all making it seem like he ain't out here to be no fan of no basketball.
I'm just not a fan of that flip
But he rep Atlanta in every single other way.
It's
Like
not a
flip flop. Like I ain't never seen
That's what
nobody
I'm saying. Now,
flip-flop.
there are people
Like,
who have actually flip-flopped. You were on the home team bandwagon and stuff, and then we get put out, and now we see you at some
I
other
see
stuff.
Tip
rocking-
up there repping the Broncos and everything.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these dudes are turning into Wayne. Wayne got like
I
like
think-
18.
Didn't Ludacris have on like a Patriots hat at some point? Oh no, Gucci went performing at the
Crazy.
Patriots. Like y'all doing too much with all that. But still, he's not out here to be a fan of a team. He's out here to show his face courtside and behind the scenes.
Speaking of being fans of teams, We got a Laker fan of our own, so we got to touch on the
we
spectacle
have
that
to?
Magic
Showtime.
Barkley said that
It's not like it's been news or anything.
he said that Magic burned. He said he burned down the house and then offered to buy it.
Oh man.
Like that analogy was so spot on, man. I mean,
Hey, leave it up to
buy it.
Leave it up to Barkley to say something that no one else would say. Hey, but you know what? As funny as it is, look, I got to take all the heat that's coming my way when it comes to because guess what? It's a wildfire in the Lakers front office, in the Lakers organization, because you had Magic going up the first take. He aired out everything, but I think everybody has some area of blame here. We talked about this earlier on in the season where when Magic stepped down, I had a feeling. I'm like, look, Magic wants to continue to be the person that he's always been, wanting to tweet and wanting to be here, and here, yet have the title of president of basketball operations. He can't have both. There has to be some level of devotion there.
Right.
I get it. Absolutely. So when it came to him wanting to do this over here, but then wanting to have this title over here, I'm like, all right, Magic, you got to give something up, because the average president of basketball operation and decision maker is not sporadically everywhere.
Well, then you need to be talking to Jeannie Buss and not Magic. That ain't Magic's fault that he asked for it.
That's why I was going over to the other side to blame.
Okay.
I was making my way there.
Right,
I'm on the road. It takes me a little time, but I'm getting there. So, on the other hand, when you're Jeannie Buss and you know these things, Magic told you, hey, I'm not giving up my other businesses because I make more money doing that than I ever would being the president of the basketball operations for the Lakers. She knew that. He didn't have to tell her that. She know that. But she said, okay, fine, I understand. Well, it looked like she didn't necessarily understand it. Then you got Rob Pelinka, who has no front office experience whatsoever. His ties to Kobe Bryant, it's as a former agent. And you have him, obviously Magic talked about the emails, and he talking about me. It was almost kind of like some childish type stuff, putting him on emails that he probably shouldn't have been on. And going into the office and saying, hey, I think I want to fire Luke Walton. Jeannie is fine with it. And then the next day, because Luke Walton is friends with Tim Harris, who holds some role within the Lakers organization, saying, "No, we ain't fine. That's my friend."
He's over business. He's over the actual business,
not the building of the team.
Right. Yeah.
But he's looking at it from a business aspect and a personal aspect. You can't fire him. That's my friend, brother. He can still be your friend after he fired.
If he can't be, then y'all evidently ain't that good a friend.
It's too many personal It's too many personal relationships over the years in the Lakers organization for them to get anything done. And that's my problem with it. Everybody want family in there. Everybody want friends. Everybody want to be buddy. If it don't go this way, I'm going to ruin this relationship. Well, you shouldn't have hired them in the first place.
They are the epitome of nepotism.
Yeah.
That's just really what it is. It's almost incestual how they work with each other. It's like you have to bring in Laker guys. Like, think about it. Outside of D'Antoni, how many of their last three coaches were all former Laker players? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's how you've been running this organization for the longest. It's always keep it in-house. Well, at a certain point, certain people get into positions because you aren't really vetting people properly as far as the best interest of the company. So now people have gotten into positions to where now they can make power plays.
I wore the jersey. That's all I got to be able to say.
I wore the jersey. Or, you know what I'm saying, I'm Jeannie Buss, so I'm the daughter of the man who created this great legacy. But y'all are all tearing it down at this point.
We ain't made the playoffs in 6. This year made 6 straight seasons. The Lakers have not made the playoffs.
Never thought I'd ever see a day that could actually be the case, but that's what you have when you have an organization that is being ran so dysfunctionally. I applaud Magic in one way for getting on First Take. Kudos. Great timing right before the Lakers press conference to announce their new head coach. Perfect. Mwah. But dude, you sitting there and they're going to turn around and say, oh, but they're going to still win one? How? When you just set fire to the whole building. You let everything basically all the cats out the bag.
Like, Magic was trying to save face with that. He slapped everybody in the face.
No, you just put your foot in your mouth. You didn't save face.
He couldn't destroy them to that level. He couldn't say, nah, they never gonna win one. He got a statue
honestly,
out front.
I'm tired of everybody getting in their Thanos bag, feeling like they got to destroy some stuff to make everything become better for society. Like, that's really what's going on here. That everybody's trying this whole route of, I got to burn it down
to bring it back
up type of thing. Nah, I'm sorry. If you want to bring it back up, you should have stuck your butt around talking about, it's not fun anymore. No, you want that brand to be great. Be there to help that brand be great. You can't be mad at Pelinka for coming in always like, yo, where's Magic? Oh, he's not here. He's with Starbucks now today. Oh, he's over here at Magic Theaters today. And joking about it. You're not here. You're not here. How can I expect you to? How can I want you to run this organization? You're not here. How can I want you to make that decision? You're not here.
You only go on that interview if you have a certain amount of zeros in your bank account. I can tell you that there's not another former GM
that F you money.
Exactly. There's not another GM that goes on First Take and performs like Magic Johnson
and can still walk in that building during the season.
Right. That's the only reason that I think he said that. Yeah, I think they win one. Because he still got to go back. He's still, quote unquote, part of the family. Yeah, he's Mr. Laker, so I don't think he could completely bash them over the head, but he did as much as he could for his key card to still work to get in the Staples Center. So I think that's the only reason that last part was even in there. But Magic, he's got so much money, he doesn't have to perform. He could stop today, get rid of everything that he has, and still be at the level where he's still Magic Johnson.
Which is why I think from the beginning, I feel as though they never should have hired him. Because the only thing that they're only going to need him for is recruiting. That's the only thing he wants to do. And he could have done that not being hired.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Even within his position, all he was doing was sending other people out to come up with the talent and then bring me back a pool. And, okay, from there, I'll go get on the phone like, hey, it's showtime. What's going on? We want to bring you over here. That was what he wanted to do, but yet you're asking for full control. Well, full control comes with more than just waiting by phone for your employees to come and report to you.
Right. Yeah, it's dysfunctional. There's literally a blaze that you could set to Staples Center, well, at least one half of Staples Center, because the other half of Staples Center is just living in euphoria right now. Well, it could be, depending on if the summer goes their way, and that's the Clippers. Like Steve Ballmer and Jerry West and everybody over there have to literally be looking up at the Lakers like, bruh.
Looking up?
I mean, well, looking down.
Looking down.
Hold on
right now.
Or looking eye to eye. Looking at each other in the eye like, bruh, this y'all right now? This is y'all? This is really where y'all at right now. I mean, if y'all like it, we love it.
And as much as we get on LeBron and how he controls this and third, I almost feel sorry for him. Isaiah Thomas made me realize something about LeBron and his career. Outside of the 4 years that he was in Miami, he's never had a good organization behind him. He's never had an elite type of coach. And it actually, they say go back to what? Because he was in high school. It wasn't like it wasn't like he was going to his coach. That's the best coach that he really had throughout his career as far as experience and stuff. He never went to college and got to deal with any of those great legendary coaches like Coach K. He goes straight to the NBA and he gets to Cleveland and look at what he had to deal with.
That's the most, matter of fact, you spoke about Coach K. That's the most elite level coach that he's had throughout his career, and that's playing Team USA basketball.
Yeah, right.
That's the most. You talk about the level of respect that he has. Like, that's the only other person he would have that level of respect for is Pop, and maybe a Pat Riley if he was coaching, but him and Pat had a little bit of friction, and even Phil Jackson possibly, but they got friction. He got friction with a couple of guys who you would think he would garner that respect from, but that's neither here nor there.
Shocking.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
You don't say.
But so it's crazy. In one way, we talk about him not having an elite level coach, but I think on the other end, I think he likes to feel needed by certain coaches. I think those other coaches that he would give the respect, they're like, look, you're a great player, yes, but I'm a great coach. I don't need you as much as you think I do, like these other guys do. So it's kind of it's a double-edged sword
Give
here.
and take, yeah.
It's like, okay, I want to be coached by a great guy, but I also want this great guy to need me and grovel at my feet. Well, a lot of those guys aren't going to do that because just like you got an ego, they have one as well.
Real quick, I want to give a shout-out to a couple of Hawks. Yesterday, it was announced.
First and second team,
come
baby.
on now. It was announced yesterday that your boy ice tray the game. Trae Young made first team All Rookie.
Unanimous.
First time in since the '80s that all top 5 picks were
Since
first,
'84, since the '84
since
draft.
'84.
Yep.
Right, so that's crazy. And then also Kevin Huerter, man, to make second team, and like he kind of started off slow during the year, but gained speed as the season went on. I love the fact that both of those guys made that team, and we actually had we're the only team that had a first and second team rookie. No other team had a first and a second team rookie.
Talk about a bright future, baby.
Right.
Definitely big shout out to Kevin Huerter as well. Like you said, man, like he is out of all 10 that made the all rookie team, there's only one cat selected lower than Kevin Huerter to make it, and that's the Clippers, Landry Shamet. And actually, the Clippers had 2 to make it as well. They had Shea Gildress Alexander, and Landry Shamet make it.
But both of them were on second team.
Right.
I'm saying we had one on first and second team. Yeah.
Correct. But like I say, for Kevin Huerter to come in at the number 19 pick, unheralded out of Maryland, that's a big one right there, man. And I think the Hawks done struck gold with that cat to be able to develop, especially with having Trae Young right next to him.
One more thing I want to really quickly get into before we close this out. We had this discussion, especially I think me and Book the other day, where a homeboy of mine brought up just for conversation purposes. If Michael Jordan was not in the league, what player do you think would have benefited from Michael Jordan? What player the most from Michael Jordan not being there during that time?
Dominique Wilkins from in the East and Clyde Drexler in the West.
See, our first answer was Clyde. We think Clyde would have benefited the most.
Right. Because
he was the guy who, I think he averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He could literally pretty much do everything.
Right.
And he was known or supposed to be known as the Jordan stopper.
Yeah.
When obviously that wasn't the case, but I think if Jordan was never there, I think Clyde probably would have been. He wouldn't have been Jordan, but he would have gotten more.
He was definitely the second guy coming from Jordan. Like everybody was already had that discussion even back then. It was between them two. But I throw Neek in there. I mean, I'm a homer, I guess.
Right.
I throw Neek in there because I can remember him having to go up against those Celtic teams and those Bull teams, and you just can't win. You just can't get past them.
I think my man Karl Malone and John Stockton would have something to say about it,
right,
especially since they, kind of got the foot on the neck from MJ back then. So I think they would have something to say. Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, maybe not necessarily have shined as much, but I mean, based on the path to the finals, they may be wearing some jewelry right now. But
how about the Rockets might have even been like a three-peat type of team or something if it wasn't for MJ being around.
It would have been a lot of the 90s would have been a lot more open at that time. It just lets you know how much of a stronghold MJ had during that time and then moving forward.
That stems from we were talking about, just to kind of switch it to the music side, it came from Big Sean saying, I was thinking that, if Drake wasn't around in the industry right now, Big Sean would get a lot more shine and get a lot more attention in that, which led me to think that if MJ wasn't around in the 90s basketball-wise, who would benefit from that shine? So that's kind of the background on where that thought even spawns from.
That was a good thought, boy. I ain't mad at that.
I know we wrapping up, y'all, but you just brought up a good point that I've been thinking about. I'm just going to say here on air, I think we need to do a music podcast because the three of us have been having some pretty good conversations on music.
Well, that's the thing. You can't separate sports and music.
Yeah.
They all go in one.
No, but I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping this all about sports, being all about basketball. But dude, I'm just gonna put it out there, and y'all who listen out there, comment, let us know what y'all think. I think we need to go ahead and get something in the music realm.
Oh, and during this podcast, like I said, they go one in hand. We're gonna talk. There's going to be more music infused with sports because athletes, musicians are always at games.
Right.
Athletes are always in the studio. You can't separate the two. So you can't talk about sports without talking about music and artists in some regards. So you're going to hear us talk about more of that together on this podcast as well. Well, that does it. Episode 18, myself, Houston.
What up?
Hey, want to give a shout out to Shaq Fu Radio, the big fella, everybody over at Shaq Fu Radio. You can listen to us every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Also, they'll get a replay every Saturday, ShaqFuRadio.com, or download the Shaq Fu Radio app.
Also, check us out. We got a YouTube channel, and very soon there's going to be some changes to this podcast. You might actually get to see us talk and not just listen to us all day, but YouTube channel is up now. We'll get it running for y'all soon. Man, what else we got going? We got a lot going on, and we need to get out of here because I know somebody got a meeting to go to real quick. And
Something like that.
Oh, in June, we will have
running late.
coverage for you. We will be going to the draft, the NBA draft in June, Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. So catch some footage from that on Instagram and on Twitter. So we'll have that for y'all soon.
Also, the Facebook page just went up too, so the footage will be on there too. Man, we're trying to do some big things over here. No, we're not trying. We're doing big things over here.
Get down with the squad.
Be on the lookout. It's a Drop Set Podcast.
We out.
Peace.
Already. Make sure you comment, rate, and subscribe to the Drop Set Podcast on Apple Podcasts for iPhone users and Podbean for Android devices. You can also hear the podcast on Wednesdays and Saturday nights on the Shaq Fu Radio app.